All right, beginning Yi 2.0. This is part 7 of 15, adding dynamic drop-downs to our forms. So what we're going to do today, well, we're going to add these drop-downs to our forms. And now there's two ways to do that. The first way is by using a function and some constants. And the second way, of course, is pulling some database information and adding that as an array to our drop-down list in our form. Well, there's a lot in here, so let's go ahead and let's get started. Remember, you can always go to the github.com TSK Matrix YICOM to get the code, and we'll be working in branch number 7 until I get that merged up into the master. So please use branch 7. So let's go ahead and let's get started. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go into our administrative backend. Be sure you're logged in as the administrator or as a product manager, because we're going to start working with products. And we want to add new products. So we're going to create, I've already got 5 products in there. But what we need to do is, this is what we get. Rather plain Jane form, awfully large, nothing really helpful. What I've done is I've added this drop down here. Well, how did I get this drop down? Okay, let's take a look at that. Remember, in our YICOM active record PHP, we have not only our behaviors, but we have some constants, and we have 2 functions. One is get gender options. Okay, and that we have 3 different. It's asexual, male, or female. Asexual being a product. So we come over to our form, our product form, and we see that we're using helpers HTML and the active form from Yi Widgets. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to use the Bootstrap. So we're going to change this to Bootstrap active form. Okay, and then we need to use an array helper, because Yi will now use our it's using array helper instead of CHTML from Yi1. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so we're going to use our Yi helpers array helper, and I'm going to be using several of our models in this one, so I need to add those models: suppliers, brands, product types, and product categories. And then I need to say, I need to tell the active form that we're actually using the Bootstrap active form. So I have to modify. So I want to tell this that the layout is now horizontal. And then I can change the size of these to be so they'll use the CSS files correctly. So let's change up our name. We really don't need to change all of it, but I've already got it. So what we did was we added this array right here to tell it that it's using a small column 4, and that the maximum length is 500. Well, that's just fine. So let's save that, and let's go take a look at our form now and see what happens to name. As you see, name now is a little bit smaller, but it's still large enough to see the name. We have a drop down here, and we can change that up as well. we can make that a little bit smaller so that it fits on the page a little better. So let's do that. And here is our prompt for our gender. So what we're going to do is we're going to add this right here, gender. Okay. And we'll save that, and I'll show you how that now changes that form, and watch how this gets a little smaller now. Probably a little too small, but that's okay. But now we can say, hey, it's asexual, it's just a product. If we had something for a male or a female, we could put that in there. I think I'll make that just a little bit smaller in our, take that off. And now it'll just say choose a gender. And it's a little bit easier to see. Okay, now that's a simple one. Now let's take a look at that code and see what we did here. What I did is I told it, hey, just use the model because the gender is part of this product model. And we're going to get our gender options from our model. And you see where it's coming from is Common Models Ye, Com, Active Record, Get Gender Options. And then I've got a prompt, which is an option for the drop-down list. These are our options. So we have our array here of a list. So we have that array here, and it just shows us our list, and it works really great. Now what we need to do is we need to say, well, what product category ID are we going to be using? Well, we're going to change this up a little bit, but before we do that, we have to tell it that we have a data model that we're going to use. We're going to use this active array helper here. Okay, so we need to add this line right here. So our data product category variable holds our array. It's the array helper. We're doing our product categories, and we're finding as an array everything, and we're only returning the product category ID and the name. So now in our product category ID right here, we're going to add some CSS, and then we're going to change this to a drop-down list. Okay, so we need to do that. That's easy enough to do. There we go. And so we save this, and we take a look, and we see how that now looks. I used 3 columns there instead of 2. So it'll go out far enough. And we have a choose a category. And now all of our categories will show up here. And you can choose a category for the product category ID. We'll do the same thing for supplier and brand and product type IDs. And that should pretty much handle everything. One of the things you do want to do is here in our form is we're going to get rid of some things that we don't need. This published on right now, I'm working on a little something that will I think we'll use a touch class on that one, and we'll just touch that, and that'll be a published on will be using a timestamp behavior, but it'll be a touch. Okay. Okay, so I have finished doing my CSS, and I've commented out this published on field. So we have a supplier, a brand, and a type, and of course our category and our gender drop downs, and they'll be in there. Just oops, I forgot to add my data for my other 3 drop downs there. There we are. So now we have data suppliers, data brands, and data product types. We're mapping those to product types, mapping them to brands and suppliers, and we know what we need there. And we're getting back an ID and a name. And so what it'll show the name, and then it'll show the ID as our value. Okay. So now we can go back to that slight mistake there. And there we go. Now, since we don't have any suppliers or brands or product types in there, it's just pretty much a null. But we do have a gender. And once again, I need to real quickly get that out of there. That choose a gender needs to be just by itself. And we'll refresh that and get a better look. There we go. So we do have our drop downs that do work. So that's how you do those drop downs. So you can either have some constants, or you can use the database and pull information out of the database and display it as a drop down. Real simple. I really like that. So we'll get on to the next step here.